Welcome back to the In the Money Players podcast. We've got some people I want to introduce you to because they're doing something pretty cool. I've had the pleasure of getting to know them a little bit off air, and now it's time to get to know them on air. This is the team from the Sport of Kings Racing Partnership, and we'll start off by introducing a woman I met a couple of years back, we'll say, at the Paddock Bar at Saratoga. Maria Lynn, how are things?
Very good. A couple years. It's probably more than 15 now. If you can believe it.
That's almost impossible, but I think you're probably right. Definitely those early years of the Paddock Bar. There were only a few people who were there every day, you and I among them. Also, very happy to welcome to these airwaves for the first time. I've really enjoyed chatting about music and sports and memorabilia with, but most of all, horse racing from the Sport of Kings Racing Partnership. Bob Berenson. Bob, what's going on?
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a real privilege actually to be here. So thank you, Pete. And you've known each other for 15 years, originated at a bar. Should I ask about your liver?
Well, the Paddock Bar is at the track, mind you.
That's that has me a little concerned, you two.
Every other one is a seltzer. That's how we. That's the only way you make it through. There's a reason you don't see me at the Paddock Bar anymore, and part of it was because of exactly what you're referring to, Bob. But Maria, my first question, I want to go back further than that. I want to go back to how you got into horse racing in the first place.
So I grew up in Saratoga, around the corner from the track. My mom had been taking us there since we were super young. She was a huge racing fan, and had like her special spot that eventually became my special spot. And then all her track people became my track people that are still my track people today. And it's just, the love started there. And I never missed a summer in Saratoga since. No matter where I live, I come back and I spend the summer to be at the races.
The family that plays together stays together. That's for sure. And I'll slide your question later in the interview about taking something you're so passionate about as a fan and turning it into a profession as you have. But I want to bring Bob back in first and get a little bit of his origin story at the racetrack. Did Saratoga play a part for you as well?
Not so much Saratoga. Now, I've grown up and I live in Hoboken, New Jersey. So I have ready and easy access to Belmont, to Aqueduct, to the Meadowlands. So I actually grew up going to the Meadowlands, originally with the Pacers and the Trotters. And then just out of nowhere, I was at a giant tailgate one day, and there was a huge tailgate. I had always heard about this infamous 16B tailgate. I'm a big giant fan, and I decided I would just kind of infiltrate it, go in and see what it was all about. And there I met our fearless leader, our partner and our managing partner of SOK Racing, and our president and founder, Michael Karras. Now, other than just rooting on the Giants, he and I realized that we had this passion and love for horse racing. So we developed a fast and cemented our friendship actually almost immediately there based on those two mutual loves. And they're very similar in a way, professional sports, whether it be football or horse racing, thoroughbred horse racing is highly competitive, very exciting, and there's a lot of camaraderie. And that's kind of how I got drawn into it. And I've been with Michael ever since. So it's been a 30-year run so far. Thanks.
These friendships, though, that are at the core of so much of what we do. And I could really see something about that tailgating. I've been to many fine tailgates in the Giant Stadium parking lot. And it really is a similar vibe, I think, in a lot of ways to hanging out between races at the racetrack. The fun you get to have, the people you get to meet, which is such an important part of the partnership experience. Bob, how did you and Michael decide to take what you'd been already doing on the ownership side and turn it into Sport of Kings Racing Partnership?
It was that shared experience and that real love of not only just game day or race day, but the exhilaration you get when your team does well. And I look at a thoroughbred, and I think the industry does as well, as a way for an individual, once you own one, to feel like you have your own sports franchise. And there's nothing more, exciting than rooting for your own team, particularly when you have some ownership in that team. But what happened was we're very organic. While we would go every weekend or every home game to Giant games and then started traveling together, we would also start visiting tracks as well. And we would see, like you had just mentioned, that people that enjoy the environment just as much as a tailgate as they do at the track. It becomes a fraternity. It becomes a way to bond, particularly when you're both rooting on the same horses. We started to develop this idea for Sport of Kings Racing because we wanted to share that excitement with friends. And then it just kind of grew from there. Friends would tell other friends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the next thing that we knew, we had a group of people all connected through different avenues of just wanting to have that wonderful experience. And that's why Maria came on with us as well, because, we met her through some really knowledgeable trainers and people through the track that said, you've got to meet this woman. She's a wonderful advocate for thoroughbred racehorsing. She brings a lot of energy and vitality, and she truly loves the sport. And that's where I think we all connect. That love, that camaraderie, that friendship that gets built through the thoroughbred racing, community and experience.
Maria, I know everything Bob is saying is true. I mean, really just a terrific person, as we've seen over the years, to have in groups around the track. But boy, what a change. As somebody who'd worked in different industries as you had, to make a commitment to working in the thoroughbred industry full time. Was that an easy transition for you? Is that something you're nervous about? I know for me, when something, this used to just be my fun, and now it's your work too, and it's still fun, but it's definitely a shift. Is that something that has gone smoothly for you?
Yes. Well, don't forget, I worked at the racetrack as well.
Yes.
At like 18. So I had experience pretty much, and traveling to the big races too. I mean, it wasn't just Saratoga. But because of all that time, I met so many people that were involved on a business level, such as yourself, owners, trainers, whoever, all across the board. And then one of my best friends is an exercise rider. I got to see kind of every single aspect of this industry from the inside out. So coming into it, I guess, when I had the opportunity, when I was approached to get more involved on the business side, it was an easy yes. It was fluid. It was, I didn't have to think about it twice. It was by far the one thing out of all the things I've done in my life, the one that made the most sense. This is what I probably thought about younger all the time, being at the track, looking around. How do I get in and make it my life? And then it came, and I was like, this is what I've always wanted.
Do what you love, and you never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
It sounds like
that's horse racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Bringing Maria into the fold, so to speak, was seamless. Matter of fact, she brought so much energy and a dynamic energy, as well as whether it was through osmosis from just being around trainers and the other people at the track. She brought a wealth of knowledge that I didn't have, that even Michael hadn't experienced. We grow up kind of in, whether you're a handicapper or someone that, has interest in one side of the business, Maria ties it all together for us. She brings in all the different elements from owners and trainers and hot walkers and the people in the paddock, people that Michael and I, as enthusiasts, didn't have as much access to until she really brought it all together.
Yeah, and I think I've seen it in action. I can speak to it myself. I want you to talk about another key member of your team, the Sport of Kings Racing Partnership's racing manager, Mohammed Mubarak, a name that'll be very familiar to horse players who've been going to Saratoga. Maria, explain what his role is with the team and how he got involved.
So I met Mohammed back when I was super young, and he was with Foostock, the Sheikh Mohammed Foostock, and Buckram Oaks Farm and the Four Roses Stable. And I was probably 20 years old, and they were huge at that time. And they spent probably the whole summer in Saratoga, and they had so much success. They fell apart when he died. Mohammed came back around, and his sons are both now training, and he's over at Gulfstream. And we ended up running into each other in Ocala at a sale after like over 10 years of not really seeing each other. And from there, it just clicked. We were ecstatic to see each other. And I was like, well, I'm doing this thing that we're trying to build, and I think you'd be great fit for it. And I think he was very excited to jump on board and get more involved, outside of what he was doing with his kids. And so it was a perfect match. And he's helped us come such a long way in such a short time. I mean, he's our horseman.
That's great. I want to talk a little bit about some of the specifics of the horses that you guys have at the moment as well. But this is a public facing partnership, looking for to continue to expand in that regard. Bob, what do you think makes you guys different than some of the other options out there for people who might want to get involved?
Well, differences can be wide ranging. There's a lot of other syndicates or partnerships out there. We like to consider ourselves more of a partnership because the people get involved with us. They've been friends and family, and even someone that comes in from the outside, unsolicited or doesn't know us, but maybe sees this podcast, they become part of the family. And with that, a lot of access. We like to be very transparent about everything we do. And we like people that, regardless of their percentage of ownership, we want them to be fully invested in and feel they're fully invested in the direction where Sport of Kings Racing is going. We do have a number of different opportunities for all different, investment levels. But what we're trying to just do is do this in a professional way, but that doesn't overshadow the fun experience of being, a partner with us. The experience itself really needs to be paramount. Maria does a great job of bringing, someone into the fold and educating them in a way that they feel involvement, they feel excitement, they feel they have access without it being intimidating. I remember my first times going to a paddock and with my hands in my pockets and kind of shaking because I had never gone to the paddock before. I had never met a jockey. I was going to be talking to a trainer, a world-class trainer. I didn't know what to say, what to do, and I thought there was this great formality to it, and there was this mystery around it. And now I feel very comfortable because of Maria and Muhammad and Michael. And I feel this greater kinship with the industry because of that. And I think that's what we want to do for our partners. We want them not only to invest and possibly make a positive return on their investment, but more invest in the experience as well. So they feel good about that experience. They feel more educated, more confident, basically more comfortable. We want you to really enjoy your day at the track. We want you to know that we're accessible anytime if you want to talk, if you have questions, regardless of how you might think they're fundamental or rudimental or we're there to help you work through those hurdles. Now, we also do have some investors that are highly educated in the race business. So we want them to also feel that their experience kind of lifts us as well. We want their feedback as well. Sometimes we want, and their criticisms too. We're very open-ended, which I feel not that it's been the experience with some of the other syndicates or some of the other partnerships, but that open line of communication with us is the ultimate. We want people to know they're involved, they're a partner. They're not just an investment percentage. They're a true partner with SOK Racing.
It's a great way to learn. That's for sure. I can tell you that from my own experience. I love that idea for somebody from the outside looking in. I've seen Maria in her role as we will jokingly call her the cruise director in our own social circles, because she's got that vibe. She makes it fun, and she'll tell you what you're doing. She'll tell you what you're doing right. She'll tell you what you're doing wrong. And in terms of Sport of Kings as a partnership, I think one thing that's interesting is just the variety of different sort of wings you have within the brand. I mean, you're doing
right. So we have, not to interrupt, but I want to get those in there because I know you touched on the several opportunities. I mean, we kind of wanted to offer everything across the board. So we have a stable that includes claimers, 2-year-olds. We have yearlings that we're pin hooking. We'd like to pull together a claiming partnership that Michael would be a big partner in, because he really likes that like instant action side of things. And then we have, like our higher end quality horses that we'd like to see really take us everywhere.
We have the traditional pin hooking, and we have, 2 great horses that we're going to be going to auction with. And so currently we have availability. If you wanted to buy into one of these or both of these horses, you always like to spread your risk. Sure. Having multiple horses is always advisable, as opposed to just putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. We do have, 2 beautiful horses going to auction soon. Maria is also going to be looking for people that are interested in future pin hooking opportunities, where we'll come together as a collective with our partners and buy, future horses for pin hooking. And that's for the person, obviously we all know what pin hooking is about, person that isn't looking to race, but looking to invest. Those looking to race, we have a claiming partnership, and that claiming partnership is really dynamic. We're a group of people that will come together and we'll create a pool of money. And then under Michael's direction, as well as you as a partner, we'll go out and actively claim horses. And that allows you that immediate access, that fun of racing right now, right then. And just for example, we have a number of horses that are going to be running. And this is just an example of what we've been doing to date. On Sunday, we had Shy Gecko run out of Aqueduct, and I'm happy to announce that we won. So I was there at the giant tailgate, because I couldn't miss my tailgate. Normally I'd be at Aqueduct, but I had a tent of people cheering on. Some of them were our partners.
That's great.
They cheered louder than when we beat the Eagles. Thank goodness for that. But as this is recording on January 11th, we actually have at Gulfstream in race 7, we have Kingfish Stevens running. On January 14th, we have a horse at Santa Anita, Intuit.
First time out there for us.
Exactly. We have 2 horses running at Gulfstream within the next couple of days. And January 17th, we have Payzone. On January 19th, we have OK Fine. Again, both of those are running at Gulfstream.
OK Fine won 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Yep. We're on, actually, since we started this, which I would say late spring of last year, like maybe, what was it, May that Coppola won? I mean, we've had 12 wins since then, which is incredible to start off with that. Yeah. And I think a very good foundation for such a new stable.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And different levels and different jurisdictions. I mean, there's a lot of things that are appealing. Maria, let folks know some of the trainers you're working with. People are always interested to hear that.
So we love Ilkay and Mercan Kentamachi. We've done lots of great stuff with them. Lots of success in Saratoga. 5 of those races we won with them in Saratoga. We have Rick Dutrow, as we know, just won the Breeders' Cup. We have Dale Romans, that has one of our best horses, Coppola. We have newly Riley Mott and Dallas Stewart.
Nice.
And we have
Linda Rice.
We have 2 with Linda Rice. 2 of our 2-year-olds are with her.
We currently have about 25 horses in our stable that are running. I just wanted to give someone who's listening the idea that we're very actively, running. So if you're into action, as I am, I love claiming, and I love, when the horses run. We are constantly getting our horses entered in some quality races, and people that want to participate can also do that now. They can jump on board with a horse that's currently racing if they would care to. And all inquiries, if someone's listening and they want to know more, they can definitely contact Maria directly, and she can lead them through what's available, what opportunities are out there, and what we're planning to do in the future. When someone comes to us, we want you to make educated decisions. We don't want anyone to ever come to us and feel like, they've been pressured to do anything. That's not what we're about. We want you to join the family, the partnership, and really feel good about the experience.
The website folks should check out. We'll have shown that on screen a bunch, but SOKRacing.com can learn more about the team, more about the different ways that you can get involved. And is the website the best way, Maria, to contact you, or is
absolutely. Yep.
Terrific.
Click on any of the links. It'll probably send an email directly to Maria, and Maria will follow up with you. And if you prefer a phone call, we can, feel free, leave your contact informations. And, we look forward to, people just investigating and, and seeing what we have to offer, as well as, making some new friendships and having some really good bonding experiences.
Yes.
It's great stuff. Well, you've given us a bunch of horses to look for and root for, and we'll be following your story throughout the season here. And definitely want to have you guys back on again. Want to have Michael on to handicap some of the races you're in when the timing lines up. That's going to be a lot of fun too. But Bob and Maria, wanted to thank you both so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a privilege. We really can't thank you enough, and of course, all the listeners and viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete. Love you.